Hi, Black Diamonds. It's me again. Y'all get a special treat. We're actually going to do more than one book this week. Um, so I don't know if your teachers will let you watch all of it this week, so you may have to maybe watch it at home. But y'all have different times throughout the day. I'm sure that you can maybe catch pieces of it. Our next book is called Me Roberto, and this is about Roberto Clemente. And he was a Latino ball player from Puerto Rico. And so let's learn a little bit about him. I love all of the color and the artwork in here. Rudy Gutierrez, I believe. My pronunciation here is going to be a little off. Does a fantastic job. So be sure and pay attention to the pictures. All right. I was born to play baseball. In the quiet sugar town of Carolina, Puerto Rico, Roberto Clemente is always playing baseball. He doesn't care that his ball is a tin can and his bat a tree branch, or that his field is muddy and cluttered with palmas, or that his mother, Donna Luisa, has dinner ready. Roberto lives to swing and slide, to catch, to throw, to run. 19-year-old Roberto catches the eye of a scout for a major league team. With the blessing of his father, Don Melcher, he says adios to his Caribbean island and travels north. He's going to be a famous pelotero. But Roberto's first stop is chilly Montreal, where he often sits on the bench longing to play baseball. Finally, on a spring day in 1955, Roberto gets to play in the major leagues. In his first at-bat for Pittsburgh Pirates, he whacks the ball to the left side of the infield, blazes down the first base, safe. The next batter hits the ball to right field. At full speed, Roberto rounds third base and scores. Many Pittsburgh fans love Roberto's bold style, but not everyone is quick to embrace a black man from Puerto Rico who speaks Espanol. I represent the common people of America, so I'm going to be treated like a human being. Roberto hears taunts from opposing players and people in the stands. His teammates keep their distance, and newspaper reporters mock him when he speaks English. Yet Roberto holds his head up high as he swings and slides and runs. Roberto motors around the bases with an inside-the-park grand slam in one game, 3 triples in another. The Pirates radio announcer starts chanting, "Arriba, arriba," when Roberto is at the plate and catches and throws. Out in right field, Roberto is an acrobat. He leaps and dives and reaches over the wall to rob hits and home runs. And base runners don't stand a chance against his powerful right arm. But newspaper reporters don't praise Roberto's energy. They call him a show-off. And when his back hurts and he can't play, lazy. To make things worse, people call him Bob. They think it sounds more familiar, more American. Roberto doesn't like being called Bob. "Call me Roberto," he insists. All right, y'all, this one I'm going to struggle with. Orgulloso to be from Puerto Rico. And Puerto Rico is just as proud of him. So they're calling him Bob and lazy and a show-off. In 1960, Roberto is an all-star for the first time, and he's hitting the ball further than ever. 16 of those balls clear the fence. Gone. Roberto's 16 home runs and 94 runs batted in propelled the Pirates to the World Series. Donna Luisa travels to Pittsburgh to see him play, while the rest of Puerto Rico is glued to the radio. Not the TV, y'all, the radio. On baseball's biggest stage, Roberto shines. In his first World Series at bat, he ropes a single to center field, driving in a run as the Pirates take Game 1. In a decisive Game 7, Roberto's infield hit pushes a run across the plate. And the Pirates win 10-9. They are champions of baseball. Roberto is the only Pirates player with a hit in every World Series game. Yet, few people in Pittsburgh seem to notice. While the Pirates celebrate, the boy from Carolina heads home to his beloved island, where fans sounding pitos and tambores give him a hero's welcome. If I'm good enough to play here, I have to be good enough to be treated like the rest of the players. Puerto Rico throws party after party for Roberto, but he yearns to be recognized in Pittsburgh too. When the newspaper reporters vote him 8th for the Most Valuable Player award, Roberto's outraged. They won't acknowledge his talent because he's black, because he's Puerto Rican. And it's not the only injustice he faces. In Puerto Rico, Roberto is free to go wherever he wants. But in segregated Florida, where the Pirates train each season, the team hotel and most other places are off limits for a black man, even a World Series champion. While his white teammates play golf and swim at the beach, Roberto's stuck in his room in another part of town. It's like being in prison, he tells a reporter. Roberto continues to demand justice for himself and for players like him, but it's on the field that he makes himself heard. A determined Roberto has his best season yet, and at the 1961 All-Star Game, with the score tied, he smacks the ball to right field, a game-winning single. When the season is over, Roberto leads his league with a .351 batting average and wins a Gold Glove for his spectacular catches and throws. There is no ignoring Roberto now. The ball is flying off his bat. He hits 29 home runs and drives in 119 runs for the Pirates in 1966. At the end of the season, the newspaper writers can't deny it. Roberto is the MVP. El más valioso. By now, more players from places where palmas grow and people speak Espanol are shining in the major leagues. Roberto's hard work is paying off, but the biggest performance of his career is yet to come. When the Pirates make it back to the World Series in 1971, Roberto once again has a hit in every game. In Game 7, he wallops a home run to left field to help the Pirates win 2-1. The Pirates are champions again, and this time, Roberto is named MVP of the World Series, a first for a Spanish-speaking player. Puerto Ricans beam as Roberto asks Donna Luisa and Don Melchor for their blessing on television in Espanol. And he is not done making his people proud. En el día más grande de mi vida, pues los niños la bendición mía y que mis padres me echen mi bendición en Puerto Rico. Y'all, I'm not sure what that means, and I'm pretty sure I butchered the pronunciation. But from the context clues, I'm assuming that this was how he gave his asked for his blessing from his mom and dad. On a September afternoon, Roberto clobbers a ball to left field for a double, his 3,000th hit. Few players have ever had that many hits in the major leagues. Standing tall on second base, the boy from Carolina tips his helmet to the crowd. After 18 seasons, he still lives to swing and slide, and to catch, and to throw, and to run. All right, that was the end of the book, but we do have an author's note back here, and it's a little more information about Roberto. On December 31st, 1972, 3 months after collecting his 3,000th hit, 38-year-old Roberto Clemente boarded a plane in San Juan, Puerto Rico. He was on his way to deliver supplies to earthquake victims in Nicaragua. The aircraft crashed into the ocean shortly after takeoff, claiming the lives of everyone on board. Because of the circumstances of his death, Roberto has long been honored primarily as a humanitarian figure. And while he certainly deserves to be recognized as such, that narrative has obscured what I see as his greatest contribution to baseball: his battle to get the sport to accept and embrace players from Latin America. It is this legacy that most resonates with me as a first-generation Latina who covers baseball for a living, a job that has traditionally been the domain of white men. I was 20 when I started my journalism career at MLB.com, writing, translating, and producing stories for a Spanish-language audience. I've since covered players, coaches, and managers who hail from Roberto's native Puerto Rico, my mother's native Cuba, as well as the Dominican Republic, Venezuela, and other Latin American countries. Many of those players rank among the game's biggest and most beloved stars. But when Roberto arrived in the majors, he encountered an industry that, years after Jackie Robinson's debut with the Dodgers, remained hostile to people of color. Early on in his career, newspapers mocked Roberto's Puerto Rican accent by quoting him using phonetic spelling. When physical ailments kept him off the field, reporters called him a hypochondriac and accused him of being lazy. And when he complained about this treatment, the media dismissed him as a malcontent. As an Afro-Puerto Rican man, Roberto was also subject to Jim Crow laws. Yet Roberto, who identified with the civil rights movement, the African-American struggle for equality, remained fiercely and unapologetically proud of his roots. His refusal to bow to bigotry and his defiance of racist stereotypes are what most inspire me. As someone whose first language is Spanish, but who wasn't always comfortable speaking it in professional settings, the moment when Roberto addressed his parents on national television is incredibly validating. Roberto, of course, ranks among the most accomplished players of all time. In 18 seasons with the Pirates, he hit .317, clobbered 240 home runs, and drove in 1,305 runs, while claiming 4 batting titles and 12 Gold Gloves and making 15 All-Star Game appearances. He was the 1966 National League MVP and helped Pittsburgh win the World Series twice. After his death, he was inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame. Major League Baseball was designated September 15th as Roberto Clemente Day. Y'all, that was just earlier this week. And each year, the league awards the Roberto Clemente Award to an active player who embodies his values. It is important to note that Roberto was not the first Afro-Latina player to suit up for an American or National League team. That distinction belongs to the Cuban-born Orestes Minnie Mendoza, a major figure in the integration of baseball who faced the same hostility. By continuing the legacy of Mendoza and others, Roberto helped clear a path for players from Latin America to star in the major leagues, and for a reporter like me to cover them, the players and coaches whose stories I tell see themselves in Roberto Clemente. He is their hero, and mine. That was a note from the author, and our author of this is Nathalie Alonso, who is a sports writer. So She wanted to give you some more history on him and why she felt compelled to write this. In the back, we also have a glossary, of some of our Spanish words. And the quotation, the big quotation that I struggled with, it tells us what it means. It means, on the biggest day of my life, I give my blessing to my kids and ask that my parents give me their blessing in Puerto Rico. There's also a timeline of his life that you can kind of go over. And then there's bibliography telling where the information came from, acknowledgments, and then the illustrator's note. So the dedication that the author gave is to my mother for always taking me to the library, and for all of those who love their heritage and dare to walk their path towards who they are. That was actually from the illustrator. So, y'all, I thought this is a great way to kick off National Hispanic Heritage Month. That began the 15th as well. So, this was Call Me Roberto. I hope you enjoyed.